Little question and answer. Yeah, I'm still under the weather a little bit, so forgive me if I cough during this vlog. Anyway, what's the most amazing date with a girl? What's the most amazing date I've ever had that failed? Well, if you was living here in the greater Cincinnati area or northern Kentucky in 1986, you would have heard me on the radio station. Yeah, I got a date via or through the radio station. Alan Browning. It was during the summer. It was Friday evening, and on your radio now, if you turn to 55 WKRC AM, back in 1986, you would have heard me on that radio. You what it was, you called into the show live on the air, and when he picked up your phone, he would get the other phone that had the women on it. So there's two phone lines, all the guys, and the other phone was all the women. And so he picked up, and I was live. He says, "Of course, they get your name down just before you go on the air, so he knows who he's talking to." And he says, "Hello, Greg." I said, "Hello, Mr. Browning." And I said, "Am I live on the air?" He said, "You're live." He said, "You want to try some girls here?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And he opens up the other phone, and the girl speaks. And Alan Browning says, "Okay, you two go at it." And so me and this girl's chatting while he's standing by listening to us and the radio audience. Now, I'm calling from Florence, Kentucky. Again, 1986. And I'm at my cousin's apartment, and just chatting away with her. And what it is, if the after a few minutes, say 5 minutes, if the chemistry's right, he'll say, "Do you two want to exchange phone numbers off the air?" We're on the air now, but if you say yes and yes, well then off the air you two can exchange phone numbers. And so I think her name was Lisa. Anyway, Alan Browning asked me, uh, you know, do you like her? And I said, yes. And then he goes to her. He says, do you like Greg? And she says, yes. So off the air, we exchanged phone numbers, and I call her back, and we talked probably 10, 12 minutes. And I says, where do you want to meet? And she says, you're the man. She said, you choose the area spot. I said, okay. I'll meet you in Florence, Kentucky on Mall Road. She's okay. Then I asked her, what will you be driving? Because the way she talked to me, it kind of sounded like maybe her and her family had some money. Just the tone of her voice. But anyway, she hesitated for a second. She said, I'll be bringing a bus in. I said, oh, okay, that's fine. And she said, you bringing a bus? I said, no, I'm driving a car. I'm in a red Maverick. And I know where that bus stop is. I'll be waiting for you. And she didn't want to meet in the evening. She wanted to meet at 12 noon, I guess because it's safer. But anyway, I didn't say anything about that. I said, what time do you want? And this was on a Friday, but she didn't want to go on a date till Monday. So Monday at noon, I drove to, well, before noon, about 11:30, I drove to Florence, Kentucky. I parked my car. I got out of it, and I leaned by my car. It was five till noon, and I could see the bus sign there. Come at 12 noon, she hadn't the bus hasn't showed up. 5 after noon, nothing. 10 afternoon, I thought I may have been stood up. 15 afternoon, 12:15. I thought I've been stood up. All of a sudden, here comes the bus. Yeah, city bus. Now you got to remember, I have no idea what she looks like, and she has no idea what I look like. Hey, it was 1986. There was no picture exchanging. There was no technology. Anyway, here comes the bus. As the bus is coming, I'm thinking, well, Greg, what have I got? What will she be 500 pounds? I mean, I was 23 years old. see, 5, yeah, I was 23 years old. And you know how a 23-year-old thinks. I was thinking, is she going to weigh 500 pounds or is she going to be look like anorexia? You know, is she going to be skin and bones? You know, I'm a little nervous because you don't know what voice sounded beautiful. That don't mean nothing. Anyway, the bus stopped. Well, as the bus is coming, I was thinking, if that bus passes that sign up, I've been stood up because that's the only bus for a few hours. My heart was beating in my throat. I thought, come on, stop at that sign. Here comes the bus, about 40 miles an hour. I was, man, you better start slowing down. And it started slowing down. The bus stopped, and she got off. Wow, she was pretty. I hadn't got close to her yet. She gets off the bus. She takes about 2 steps, and she waves at me, and I wave back. I let her come to me. I didn't, you know, I didn't want to be too forceful and walk to her. I let her come to me, more of a relaxed, no, I didn't want to be too pushy there. But anyway, she comes to me. I never forget it. We shake. As she gets to me, she says, "Are you Greg?" I said, "Yes." "Are you Lisa?" And we shake hands and we hug each other. Well, we get in my car. And now you got to remember, I'm not making this up, I had a $400 car. What embarrassed me on the phone, I thought, oh my gosh, you'll have a big fancy sports car. But since she brung the bus, I didn't feel bad about my $400 car. Now, my car had no rust on it. It was the body on it was real nice. It was just a $400 car. It was a red Maverick. It was a four, I wasn't really embarrassed over it. Just that since she did come in on a bus, I felt better about the situation. Anyway, she was in the car. I said, "Where do you want to go?" She says, "You picked us places. You're the man." So I said, "Okay, we'll go to the movie theater." And then after the movie theater, we went to eat. But as we was in the movie theater, I can't remember the movie we watched because we did more talking than watching the movie. Her attitude changed just a little bit. Got just a little quieter. Anyway, after the movie, we went to eat. I took her back to the bus station, and I waited there because you just never know. I waited there until she got on that bus. It had been bad as she went missing. I was the last person seen with her. I stood, I stood right by her talking to her until that bus come up and she got on. The odd thing was she got on. She sat in the front seat. She didn't look at me because I waved. Well, the next day I go to a phone booth because it's more private than the house. I go and call her on the phone, and her sister answers, and basically her sister said she don't want nothing more to do with you. I said, "Why? What's wrong?" And and then just about hung up. I didn't get a chance to, and I think what it might have been, I think she may have thought I was married, but I wasn't. I just got that gut feeling. I was getting ready to tell her on the phone, tell your sister, I'm telling Lisa, your sister, I'm not married. But her sister just hung up in a hyper mode, and I never did get to see her again. But so, in 1986, I think I spent $35 on a movie, the eats. In a movie theater, we had popcorn and candy. It was expensive. So basically, I spent $35 just to chat with a lady oh yeah, and she was wanting back. She was wanting back on that bus at 4:20. Yeah, that was only, you know, uh, 4:20. She got off that bus at 12:15. You know, so $35 for about 3 hours was the 3 or 4 hours. Anyway, yeah, I had to take her back to that bus because she said her and her mom. I didn't know if it was an excuse because we just first met. She didn't really know me. I didn't know if it was just an excuse, just to get out of my hair. Cause like I say, it was just our first date. I'm sure if it had been a second, which never happened. But anyway, yeah, I had to take her right back to the bus at 4:30. That just gave us time to watch a movie and go to supper. at a restaurant, which was next to the movie theater. Yeah, that was one of the most amazing dates I've ever was on, yet it failed. 1986. It cost me $35, and $35 was a lot of money in 1986.